Hey everybody, welcome back to Bookish Daddy. I hope you've all been having a good week. Today we're going to be doing romance books from a guy's perspective. As you all saw in the last video, my TBR, I got A Part of Your World. And because of that, I read it and went on a whole romance binge and ended up finishing all three of these books. And I love them. But before we get into that, I am loving romance novels right now. So if you could comment your favorite romance below, and I'll tell you a few of my favorite tropes for bonus points if you can find one with. I like fake dating. I actually surprisingly liked the single dad trope. I thought that was cool. Those are my main two right now, but I've only read so many romance novels. If there's any that you've read that you think I would enjoy, go ahead and comment them below because Christmas is coming up and I'll be needing some present ideas. Make sure you also like and subscribe while you're commenting. Just click the button. And that being said, let's get into it. So the first book is Part of Your World by Abbey Jiminez. And I gave this 5 stars. Spoiler alert, I gave them all 5 stars. I love these books. And really, this is going to be like across all three. I like that they hit on so many different human like flaws and how to deal with a lot of different issues. We've got everything from daddy issues to mom issues to divorce, needing new organs. We've got all kinds of different like everything you could think of. All three of these books hit separately. So I highly recommend reading all three. This book happens to be my favorite of the three, and I kind of ranked them in the reading order. This was my first favorite. Yours Truly, which is my wife's favorite, was my second favorite, and then Just for the Summer was my third favorite. I'll go over them a little bit, what I liked about them, what I disliked. There's not really much to say about disliking, but the first one is a city girl and a country boy. And I actually really like this trope too. I like that the man in this is he's not poor, but he's struggling. And the woman in this she's financially stable. She's a surgeon. She's very well renowned. And this guy that she runs into, he's not only like not doing so great financially, but he's unaware of how much he needs help. And I love books like that where she starts pointing out things to him, what he could do better, how he can do better, taking charge, and he just kind of is like shocked by it and takes the back seat. There's another thing in this book that I loved that my wife and me both agree is probably the best part of this book is all the unique ways that Daniel is the main character. So all the different ways Daniel takes Alexis on dates. So because he's not financially stable and he's a country boy, he's doing really cool, unique, special dates instead of just your typical go to a fancy restaurant and see a movie. He's doing the old school drive up, what are they called? The drive-in movie theaters where you sit in the back of your truck, or doing stuff like going to gardens and picking your food to cook for the night. And it was just super cute. And since he's a farm guy, there were lots of cute animals, which she's a sucker for. These three books too, I'm not a big fan typically of doctors and not in real life, in books, like doctor romances and hospital romances. But Abbey Jiminez did a great job of making me enjoy it. I mean, these were all 5 stars. All three of the main characters in these books are nurses or surgeons, and it was phenomenal. It was such a good book. That being said, I'll get to the next one. Okay, so the second book, Yours Truly, is about Jacob and Brianna, and this one's the book that is dealing with divorce. The main girl in this is going through a divorce and a bad marriage, and the guy at the same time is going through a bad breakup. This is also the book where we've got someone who is dealing with needing an organ, and all kinds of like emotions in this book, and dealing with trying to comfort people who are, going through these tough times and there's nothing you can do about it. And it did a really good job of portraying anxiety and stress. So the main guy in this has an anxiety disorder where he just breaks down, and he doesn't like big crowds. He doesn't like to be put on the spot. He's a people pleaser, which, I deal with my own anxieties, and my wife has hers. Uh, there's a lot of people pleasers in this house as well. So I'd, I'm starting to understand the struggles of that. And I think that Abby Jimenez did a really good job of portraying that, of his anxiety and different tics. And this one has a lot of letters, like writing letters back and forth between these two doctors. I loved that trope. So if you have a romance novel that's dealing with like sending texts back and forth or letters back and forth, I actually really enjoyed that. I know my wife loves it too. That's why this is her favorite book. It was super cute when he'd be going through these anxiety attacks and get a different little letter put in his pocket, or just the different ways she went about making him feel better and comfortable, and never like belittling him or anything like that. She was very good at reading the room. As a surgeon or a doctor, she was very good at knowing when he was about to have a spell and taking care of it. At the same time, he was very good at always being a safety net for the girl in this. She went through a bad marriage where she couldn't trust her ex-husband. This guy was just handing her his phone to go through anything she wanted. He was there. He's a people pleaser, and it's the complete opposite of what she was used to. And I loved that. I thought it was a really cool dynamic to see the guy with the anxiety disorder and being a people pleaser, and another, it seems like there's a running theme with the women being the powerhouses in these books and having the like really good job and being on top of it. This one, she's got a really good career, but she's also got her struggles she's dealing with. And I think that they did a really good job of portraying that. The last book I read is Just for the Summer. This is the third and final book. Also, these three books do a phenomenal job of tying together. These are interconnecting standalones, and I highly recommend reading these in the proper order, because in this, especially with the third book, a lot comes to fruition. Things get crazy, and things from book 1 and 2, it all makes a big roundabout, and oh, it was so good. This book is about Emma and Justin, and again, we have different disorders. Emma was abandoned as a child and has to go through being in the system. She struggles with connection and staying put. She always keeps like a suitcase ready to go so she can leave at any minute. She doesn't trust anybody because her mom is a horrible person. And the guy in this is the opposite. He is we'll call him a single dad. He's got all his different complications, but he's raising all his siblings who are all really young. And he's used to a life where everything is put together and you can trust your siblings and your parents, and something abruptly happens where he has to take care of his siblings. So he knows what it's like to be there for someone and to be that rock, and he's having a hard time understanding why this girl is so ready to run at any given second. And he's going through a hard time trying to portray that he'll be there. And boy, they do a good job of that too. I won't get into all our family dynamics or anything like that, but we know what it's like to deal with, mom or dad issues, or dealing with not understanding each other's feelings or emotions because we went through different things as children. And I think that Abby did a phenomenal job of portraying that as well, and how hard it could be to understand someone when you haven't been through the same things. Uh, that being said, there is a friend in this one. Her best friend is like that really aggressive friend you need in your life who tells you bluntly how it is. She was really cool. I like that she had that person, the one person in her life that's always there. And all of us really need a friend that's just going to be like brutally honest, whether we like it or not. And so this book has that as well. Uh, this one isn't so much like writing letters back and forth, but they do text and do like blogs or vlogs together. And that's super cute. And I like that the guy in this likes to like build almost like it's job interviews. So like at the end of the date, he'll do an end of date interview and ask questions, or before a date, he'll send a fill out sheet to fill out, here are your options for eating, where to go, what to do, and like plans it all out in like a spreadsheet. I thought it was freaking adorable. That was probably my favorite part of this book. Uh, these are heavy hitting books too. So I loved them. They were all 5 stars, but be warned, they're not. I know all romances have that third act breakup. These do handle a lot of like really heavy topics. Like I said, everything from mom and dad issues to anxiety and stress to divorce to having to raise little kids by yourself and go through all the struggles of finding out what to do and how hard it is to like grow up too fast or grow up in the system. Uh, she hit every category, a lot of them in these PTSD, like just everything, and did such a good job. That was probably my biggest takeaway from these was not so much the romance, but getting through all the different emotional situations to get to the romance. So none of these are like just love at first sight, right off into the sunset. It's maybe falling for someone in the way how attractive they are, but then getting through all the obstacles of figuring out their trauma, their emotions, their what they're dealing with in life right now, and vice versa. So all three of these, you get the male and female perspective. Uh, that being said, the audiobook has male and female for all three of these as well. I did have to cheat here and there. And they crushed it. The audiobooks are phenomenal. But I love that it's not just the males trying to figure out what's going on with the women in this, but the women are also trying to figure out the men and how they can make them better and get through their tough times, and developing that connection. It's just so cool that all three of these have so many different issues and conflicts. And at the same time, they all three really have their own different romances. Like some are, one girl just likes to be like flirty, get in, get out because she doesn't like connection. One girl is going through a divorce and doesn't want to deal with anyone ever again and just thinks she'll be alone forever. And then one girl thought that, escaping to the country would be the safe way to stay away from men because she's used to city men and didn't think she'd fall for the country boy. And it's just, I don't know. I love that all three of these were so different and yet intertwined so well. Uh, I know I talked a ton on these. It was three pretty big books. Uh, yeah, that's my thoughts on these. I love how emotional they were and not just smut. That being said, if you don't want smut, they all three had a little. I wouldn't say a ton. I'd give these all like one chili pepper, but it is there. They all do curse, so if you don't like cursing, it's in there as well. And then they all do handle a lot of very serious topics. So if you're wanting to just cozy, this probably would not be your reads. They definitely had me almost in tears on almost all three of them. Uh, yeah, I would say all three had me pretty emotional throughout the entirety of the books. Because, like I said, it deals with all the man's issues, the woman's issues, their parents, their kids, their siblings, friends. Everybody has their own like issues, just like all of us. And I think she did a good job of that, showing that like no matter what you're seeing in every single person in these books, they all had their issues, whether they were surgeons or architects or farmers. They all had their problems and helped each other deal with them. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I had a decent job or did a decent job of portraying my feelings on these books. Uh, yeah, those were my first three big romances. I loved them. All three 5 stars. I am in my romance era. Again, I'll say throw some comments down below on what you suggest to read. Uh, Fake dating, single bed trope, grumpy sunshine type vibes. I like those as well. You all have a great week.